Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so I have a really good message if I can orchestrate it correctly and to where it can be understood in its fullness, because it's a really good one. It's a really good one. Okay, first thing is first, and just so that I do not forget this or overlook it. Sometimes even things I write down, I'll overlook it and not realize it until later. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. The blessings, promises, and the gifts. Alright, you take all these three things. What they have in common is this: they're irrefutable. They're irrevocable. No man can take them from you. And it's not a trade-off. God does not bless us with these things in order to get something from us. Like paying a hired servant. Paying a hired servant. And it goes back to what the word says about where the servant was paid to tend the flock. As soon as they see the wolves coming, they run, because they didn't really belong to God to begin with. They knew the scriptures. That's about as good as it gets. It did not know the word himself, and they were not acquainted with the shepherd. Okay, so this is where God is taking everybody. This is his plan. This is his agenda. It is a reconciliation process. This is what we're doing, a reconciliation process. Now, anytime you have a reconciliation process, you have things that look like they're bad. They look like they're bad. And then we see the outcome later on, like the crucifixion and resurrection. So, the Lord has taken us on this journey to make us become more like the people that we respect, that we read about. Apostle Paul, John the Baptist, Apostle John, Enoch. I will point out, okay, anytime you see the Lord point something out about the enemy, he will be teaching people these secrets, so-called secrets, is what it said in the word, these so-called secrets. Don't you think God's sort of kind of counteracting that? Now, I bring up Enoch because of this. Enoch was said that he walked with God, not 10 steps behind him and not underneath him, not groveling on the ground. He walked shoulder to shoulder with God. Come, my son, let me show you some things. You have questions? I have the answers. Enoch saw some really strange things. He became so aware of the inside stuff that we so long to know, but once the Lord starts revealing some of it, we're so quick to say it's the devil. He saw so many things like that, and he knew it was God. I mean, it's just the way it was to him. It was of God. God was revealing these things to him. He had full faith in that. He had full faith in that. He didn't rock back and forth, well, this could be the devil. But it was so weird. He's not in the canon we hold, these 66 books of the canon we hold today. We see him referenced, but the Book of Enoch is not in it. And so, yeah, there you go. He was God's friend. He was God's friend. Friends share things because they love each other, not because one is getting something out of the other one. We have to lose that flesh mentality. And it's very hard. It's very hard to let go of. Let go of. See, when we least expect it, that's when God speaks to us the most. You ever notice that? You ever notice that? I mean, we're not out there trying to be Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts and save people and then like, okay, do I get a Scooby snack now? I just fed the homeless man. I want to have these dreams and visions. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It's not a trade-off. So, anyway, he's trying to take us from saying, okay, we're servants and throwing ourselves in the dirt and treating ourselves and looking at ourselves like trash. We are sons and daughters of the Most High. Just like with the prodigal son, that father killed the fattened calf for him, or the goat, or whatever it was, and put on nice clothes and just really went all out. That was his son. He came home. Why would he throw him out there with the servants to eat pig slop? Okay, so anyway, he's taking us on this same road. He can't do that. He can't do that if you're mixing the new wine he's pouring into your new wineskin, if you're mixing some of the old spirits to go back in. If that makes sense. Some of your old beliefs. Because the truth is stranger than fiction. I will tell you that. So what you saw with like the virus, the churches shut down. People had to worship from home. Some people got complacent in that. But here's what it did. People started going into the word themselves. They started losing some of the false gospel that they had attained. It was trimming the branches. It was removing the branches. Not just trimming them. It was removing them. Here's the word that the Lord spoke to me. My love for you, and it went from you to Israel. You to Israel. And that kind of confused me there for a second. My love for you, Israel, is undying and unyielding. You are the fruit of the vine. when the Lord had given me that, he says, where are the branches? What is the fruit? I said, well, the fruit is a product. He said, who is the vine? God had to get us along, and we had to get along with God. He had to purge us. He had to reteach us. And this is what has happened. Now, of course, some people, because they didn't go in the direction that they should have, where they had really gotten into a peaceful place with the Word and seek the Lord's face through the Scriptures and get along with Him in prayer, and really to set that time aside for God, doing something just for Him so you can get closer to Him. Some people didn't do that, and what it did is that it just got them used to not going to the regular service each week, and then their love grew cold. Is what we are seeing. Their love grew cold. But that word is tied into Jeremiah 31:3. Long ago the Lord said to Israel, I have loved you, my people, with an everlasting love. With unfailing love I have drawn you unto myself. Hosea 11:8. How can I give you up, Israel? How can I abandon you? Could I ever destroy you as I did Admah, or treat you as I did Zeboim? My heart will not let me do it. My love for you is too strong. And see, all of these things are what we are going through right now is really hearing the voice of God through our own actions. Okay? The things that we do are prophetic in nature. It produces a word of the Lord. So these things are leading us to the book of Hosea. A lot of us were placed in a wilderness. In fact, that's what this was. It was like John the Baptist being taught in the desert. Apostle Paul. The same thing. The fruit, had to come straight from the vine. Had to come straight from the vine. All of our nutrients to grow big and strong and beautiful and sweet came straight from the vine. It didn't have to go through a branch. See what I'm getting at? This is just what the Lord has shown me. This is not some sort of analogy that I came up with on my own. So it's really wild to me as it kind of comes forth. But one of the things I kept hearing was Hosea 1:11. Out of Egypt I called my son. Out of Egypt I called my son. And see, they were in hiding. They were in hiding. And so they were in a state of hiddenness. And so were we during this time. But when we come out, we will be walking just as Enoch did. The people who once were blind will be able to see. see as Enoch did, see as Elijah did. I'm one of them. I never would have guessed any of this stuff was real. Any of it. Until the Lord one day just snatched the blindfold off my head. And I woke up, and I've been seeing ever since. I don't always understand what I see, but He's been helping me learn and grow. But yes, Hosea, that book will give you an idea of what we're looking at. The next thing he tells me, and this was the thing that was centered around the third prophecy that is connected to the video from last night. This prophecy is connected with the first name that I had given, Jerry Lee Lewis. Whole lot of shaking going on. Well, as soon as I saw that song come up, whenever I looked up his name, that was the first song that came up. I'd forgotten all about that song, but I started seeing something I had seen before. It was a vision I had had last summer that is on here. I've described it, and it was a two-part. One part was Wall Street, and then the other was a specific location in California. I didn't know where it was at. So I knew that I could give the details of the vision, which is always what you should do, what you saw, as you saw it. Don't try to add in what it means or anything like that, just as you saw it. And so that's what I did. And when I started reliving it, I remembered, I don't know exactly where this place is at. And there was an earthquake going on in California. And I said, Lord, you told me this was California, but where is this? Where is this? Because if he shows me a place like that, you better believe it exists. I may not have ever seen it before. 9 times out of 10, I haven't. Or did not even know it existed. But, yeah, it exists. So, a few minutes went by, and I heard the Holy Spirit. He said, LAX. I said, LAX? What is that? What's LAX? What does that stand for? Is that like even really a thing? So, I had to look it up. I had some reserve. I was like, I know I'm fixing to be sick. So, I put in LAX. Y'all, it's an airport. It is an airport. Nuts. But I do remember the entire experience. There was an earthquake, saw this overpass. It ended up not being an overpass. I don't know what that thing is called, but it's like this roadway that's it's not at ground level. It's built up. And from the air, it looks like one of those little toy race car sets for little boys that's got the gun. That's what it looks like. And I'm standing at the bottom of it in a curve. And so I remember seeing that. And I was like, oh dear. But he made me understand, do not use the word earthquake with the prophecy itself. So he wanted to use the word shaking, because an earthquake in the eyes of man is a natural phenomenon, natural disaster, and so he didn't want to use that word. They try to play it off. So anyway, yeah, the word shaking. So here's the prophecy. How it will manifest, I don't know. But it will be connected with Jerry Lee Lewis. Just like with Charlie Daniels and the Georgia elections. So, here we go. There will be a shaking come to the state of California so severe, it will split LAX in half. And this is what the Lord has spoken to me. And there was one more short vision I had seen. I saw, now the word birth pains was in this. The word birth pains is like a leading up to, events leading up to, kind of like, in the book of Revelation as it's described. That I saw the Lord's feet, and we're talking about big, huge feet. He was walking across the earth. He was going across the United States. And he was stepping on the ground. With every step, the ground would shake like it was having an earthquake. Like it was a leading up to. I mean, like, it's weird. Very weird. But his footsteps, when he would step, would cause an earthquake leading toward the coast. It was leading toward the coast, and this is what you will see before the events take place for the shaking so severe. But he had spoken before, probably about this time last year, maybe May or June of last year, and said that he was laying waste the lands in California and leaving it to the desert jackals. And he has spoken about Isaiah 54. I tried to read it, y'all, and I don't have any understanding for that. I mean, it was like I was locked out of it. I couldn't understand a word of it. And sometimes that'll happen because the revelation is not for me, it's for other people. So, I mean, feel free to comment on what you think it means. But he says Isaiah 54, revival, leading the pathway, that's it, the pathway to revival. He said Isaiah 54. So this was his plan for California. Okay, he's still not going to forsaken them, but he is full of just, but yet he's merciful. So you're going to see both sides of the coin. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this third prophecy, and keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. This should be pretty interesting. Oh yeah, and about Ozzy Osbourne. This come up by accident. I was like, what has Ozzy Osbourne got to do with any of this? What is up? And I was like, he's just the front man for Black Sabbath. And I was like, wait a minute, was he really in Black Sabbath? I looked it up, y'all, I seen him on there. I said, oh. I didn't know that. I only knew about Ozzy Osbourne, like when he went when he was solo, when he done that Mama I'm Coming Home, yeah, you couldn't miss that crap on the radio all the time. Oh, it's like a broken record. So anyway, I'm such a sourpuss. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you for watching.